Hi people, welcome to a new session on cryptocurrency. This is the week one of the continuous lecture series on cryptocurrency and bitcoins. This will be an introductory week. It will be of 10 minutes. So we are going to discuss few basic points during this week. So let's continue. First of all, let us see the points like session overview, what will be the objectives of this session, and what are the major keywords which we are going to discuss during the session. So the session overview is we are going to discuss about the history of money and economics. Then we'll see what finance is, or we can see it later on. Uh, the learning objectives of the session are going to be to understand foundation and beginning of money, economics, and finance. So basically, we are going to place these concepts in the history that when it began and how it proceeded. Next, we are going to define the concept of digital money. And lastly, we are going to list out the characteristics of a transaction. The major keywords which we will encounter during this session are going to be money, economics, and barter system. So let us begin. Whoa. So this will be the first topic, money. So let me ask you a silly question. What is money? Yes, we use it so often. Okay. Now let's see how it all began. So when early man started to socialize and when he felt the need of things or services, so they started with barter system. So our traditional barter system, it was exchanging goods. Okay, so when a person is having a bag of rice, he can exchange it for a hen, or he can exchange a cow in place of a bag of apples, and so on. So this is a classic example of a barter system. Barter system is just exchanging things. The problem of barter system was you cannot value a particular thing. Like you can see a cow is worth just a bucket of apples. So there was no value of a particular thing, and there was no decision parameters that for how much commodity one you can exchange a commodity to. But still it persisted for a long period of time. And after that, around 5000 years ago, the Mesopotamian people, they started to create the coin like things which were called shekels. So shekel is like a form of currency which is used as a third thing in order to exchange two things. Okay, or in order to buy a thing. So whenever you want a bag of rice, it will have a decided price, it will have a decided amount of shekel which you need to pay. You'll pay those much shekels and you'll get a bag of rice. So say you pay 10 shekels to get a bag of rice, and you pay 1 shekel to get a hen, and you pay 100 shekels to get a cow. So the value of things are created. The costlier things will cost you more shekels, and a cheaper thing will cost you less shekels. So this was around 5000 years ago in Mesopotamian era. Not very formal, but still the history says so. So these were the coin-like structures which they use. Nextly, the formal use of coins by done by Lydia. So they manufactured the first coins of history, which like modern people use. Okay, so Lydia is basically western part of Turkey. At around like 600 BC, during that time they manufactured coins. And the first country to manufacture paper notes was China, of course. Okay, so Chinese were the first people to start the paper money. It was around 770 BC. So the bottom line is money is a thing which allows people to trade goods and services indirectly. So instead of trading one thing with other, we are trading money in place of that. Okay, so it helps to communicate the price of goods. So you know the price of goods, something is cheaper, something is costlier, something you can compare two things. Okay, and money and currency is actually interchangeable terms nowadays, but money is actually a conceptual thing. Okay, you cannot see money. Over here we are discussing about currency. You can see currency, okay, but you cannot see money. Okay, so this is just an additional info to go. Okay, now let's move on to our next slide, which is on economics. So let me ask you a more silly question, which is what is economics? Okay, so whenever I go to some parties, some old dudes, they are discussing about economics and world economics and Indian economics and GDP and so on. So trying to define the term economics, trying to place it in history. So let us begin with that. So economics term was like, although it existed from like very old era, since the Indus Valley civilization, the Harappan culture, but we found the traces of it from around 15th to 18th century. Like the term economics, it came into begin from 15th to 18th century by Greeks. So economics is a Greek word, like some typical pronunciation of economics. So it is a Greek word. So we see that economics began, like formally began from Greece, but we can see the traces of economics, the way economic concept was used, not the term economics, but the economic concept was used even in the Indus Valley civilization, even in the Egyptian era. So Egyptian people, they also used to formally write down the things which are presently like tracing back to the concept of economics. So this is how the history, the ladder of economic goes on. Let's talk about the modern day economics. The modern day economics was like the father of that is considered to be Adam Smith. So Adam Smith was the person, he was a Scottish thinker, and he coined, like he started the things of economics. He wrote a book, Wealth of Nations. From there, the modern day economic foundations were laid. A lot of things were taken from that. He gave a lot of theories, and most of his theories were not that original. He was like hugely influenced by French economic concepts. So from that influence, he wrote a book, Wealth of Nations, which was very controversial. Also, a lot of people like contradicted on his ideas and on his theories, but still, he is considered to be the father of modern economics. Later on, a lot of people came up with new things. Karl Marx was one of them. He came up with the idea of like socialism, communism. Then came Thomas Malthus. He stated more, like he stressed more on the principle of population. Okay, although some of the ideas of Thomas Malthus were like not taken in that good way, and they were not true also. He gave some of the forecastings like at some time people will be so much that you'll be short of resources and so on. So that is why the principle of population, his book, like his book used to be very what to say, forecastial in nature, but his forecastations were not that true, because he didn't take into consideration the idea of technology, how the technology is going to like progress. Parallelly with the population growth, the technology, the resources are also going to increase. So he didn't take those things into consideration. But still, these were the people who like majorly contributed in modern day economics. There are a lot many more. You can read about it. So this is a brief of economics. So the bottom line here is economics is a social science that studies production, distribution, and consumption of goods and services. Okay. So with money, you can buy something, you can sell, like buy or sell something. Money is a like a middle where to have some transactions, and to keep track of how that money is inflowing and outgoing in production, distribution, and consumption of goods and services is known as economics. Okay, so whenever you are noting down something that okay, these were my productions and these were the distributions, and this is how much we consumed, this is how much we wasted, and this is how much we paid for our bills and services. So this is basically an economics. Okay, so economics could be as huge as a country or could be as small as my personal economics in my app or my family's economics and so on. So this is what is economics. Okay, so with that, we come to end of this session. So we are thorough with the concepts of money and economics. Okay, so I hope you are clear with these two concepts. The history, you can formally place them somewhere. Okay, and now they are not the so silly questions. Next up, we'll start with the next topic in the next session, which is going to be finance. So wait up for next session. And till then, you can post your questions or queries. Okay, remember any silly questions will do. Post them in the comments. We'll try to answer them all. Okay, thank you. Bye bye. See you in the next session.